No.
There we go, I think. Oh, well, almost.
Erica, I got you.
Okay, thank you. I'm like, no, no, it would have taken me 3 seconds on like a laptop. Mm.
Okay. Hello, Fight or Flight viewers. My name is Nathan from season 3 and season 4 of Fight or Flight, and we're here for the first episode recap of the season, but it's the first 3 episodes. So we got a lot to get into, and I have two very lovely guests that I both played with. I'm so excited to chat with them. First up, from season 3, someone that I know outside of the game, played a few orgs with, and I know they're an incredible player. Can't wait for your thoughts. Someone who is almost on the season, it's Bryce. Bryce, how are you?
I'm doing really good. Life has changed for me a lot since my first season of Fight or Flight, so it's really nice to, get back into the community and, watch the season. It's been wild.
No doubt, no doubt. And I know you got some relationships on the season. I'm excited to hear what you got to say. So we'll see, we'll see. Okay. And then we also got someone who, no stranger to a second chance, who has been back, been out of the game, come back for another season. Some would say Rob Queen, season 4. It's Erica. Erica, how are you?
Hello. I'm doing great. Like Bryce, my life has also changed a lot since the last time I was on Fight or Flight, but I'm thrilled to be here and to give my thoughts. It's super fun to watch people that I got to play with multiple times, different seasons, to watching them all go against each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Erica, anything going outside? Like, how's life been since
Life
Fight or
is
Flight?
Life is good. I no longer live in New York. I moved back to New Jersey. Working a boring job, but thrilled to be back on Fight or Flight. I did do a mini, if you want to, which was lots of fun. So it's always just great to be fight or flighting.
Yes, yeah. Bryce, what about you? I know a lot has changed.
Yeah, I mean, when I was on Fight or Flight the first time I was in the army, and I have since been out for a while now. It's been like almost 3 years. And I moved to Colorado and I've been with my partner for like 2.5 years. So it's been a really great situation since I got out of everything, but everyone could probably assume that much already.
Yeah. Hey, well, happy to hear it for both of you guys. So, yeah, thank you guys again for both hopping on. Great season so far, at least I think so. But how are you guys enjoying the season? What are your overall thoughts? 3 episodes in, a lot of drama. How are we feeling?
Every time I start watching a new season of Fight or Flight, I'm like, damn, I forgot how much I love this show. Like it really just is so great. It's awesome seeing who's sticking with their alliances from like the past seasons and who's wanting to diverge from that and build new alliances. And it's cool to watch people that I played with on season 2, people I played with on season 4, now mesh together into one season. Yeah, I've been loving it.
I'm kind of in the same boat. It's been very interesting to watch so far. I think everybody really has been going kind of like balls to the wall. They've been taking their first experience and like really implementing that into how they want to play this time around. And for a lot of people, I think it's really working for them, but for some others, not as much, unfortunately. So it's been very interesting to see how everyone has chosen to adapt from their first time around.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's always so interesting to see how the relationships, especially from season to season, are going to carry over. So, like, we'll get into it. Like some of the Nora Gabby stuff, that was interesting.
Yeah.
The Ivan Esme, really interesting coming from outside of the game. Like, who would have thought about that? And I mean, Jackie slid it by too. I think that's a big highlight, which is like kind of crazy that, still in the game. So we'll get to that too. But I just think that it's so cool to see a lot of these people back. Like, I mean, even for me competing on, 2 seasons, also, I'm just like, I'm a fan first too. So like, I
Right.
truly, have watched all these people. I had studied a lot of Erica and, season 1 and 2 before I played. So it's really, really cool to see all these people back. And I think it's been really fun. So, but up top, I think I also just want to say there's going to be more recaps throughout the season. This won't be it. And I also want to plug, of course, the YouTube, the Discord, the Patreon, all of that stuff. So if you're interested in more Fight or Flight, there's more Fight or Flight out there. And then, join the community. Get in Discord. I'll post some confessional accounts. We'll get in the weeds. I'll talk some strategy. it's a good time. So if you're interested, I think that's out there. So don't forget about that too. Okay, so big picture here. We're 3 episodes in. We have two season two representatives going out in the first 2 episodes, and we also have a season one rep going out in the third episode. Also, this is full spoilers, so if you're not spoiled, what are you doing here? Get out, all right? But I don't know. How do you guys feel about this early? Because I mean, for me, I don't want to be biased. I want to be remain objective here. But of course, like the season reps still in the game is good. But also, like, see everyone get a shot. How are we feeling about how this early game is shaking out?
I'm feeling for my season two comrades a lot. You know, it's interesting to hear that Sheridan felt responsible for Greta getting out in season two because I took a lot of that heat that I was responsible for getting Greta out. Which like I take that. I have regrets about that because Greta really stuck by me in season two. So watching her go out first was deeply painful because I was really rooting for her to go far and if not take it all. Yeah, that one really stung. And then Sheridan, that was heartbreaking because Sheridan is such a sweetie pie. And I also was rooting for her, but she really dug herself a hole there at the end.
Yeah, yeah. And then how do you feel about, Finn survives and Trishti's still in the game. So season two's not out.
Mhm.
They got hurt a little bit, but how do you feel about them? Do you think moving forward, how are they looking for you?
Well, I'm thrilled that they're both still in. I am worried about Finn just because people do keep dropping Finn's name every game. But like, not for anything, Finn is one of the most entertaining players that has ever been on Fight or Flight any season. And I would hate to lose that energy. He's just hysterical. So I would hate for Finn to go. And Shrishti is such an underrated genius that I hope she gets to play longer than she did in season two. I mean, she made it pretty far, but I would like to see her get to play even longer because I think she has some of the best strategy and like intelligence that I've ever seen anyone have. And me, I'm not a strategic player whatsoever. So it's something that I really admire and I would really like to see her show off. So I'm less worried about her than I am about Finn, but I am excited to see those two hopefully put up a fight.
Yeah. And then Bryce with season three seems like there's a little bit of vitriol going on, but
I
they're all intact. They're still here. I
yeah.
personally was very surprised to see that Nora had, feelings about Gabby and Gabby's, also not wanting to work with season three. But I don't know. I thought Just Forever might be coming back, but
I thought
what
so
do you think?
too. I mean, but we all know like my legacy is being just very loyal to Jess Forever. So I was hoping to see Jess Forever come back. I wasn't really expecting Nora and Gabby to be like offset from one another because I never had an understanding that their relationship was like that strained at the end of the day. Just because Nora is a very like calculated and reasonable person to work with. So I figured she would see the benefit in sticking close to someone like Gabby because Gabby is never going to fade into the background. Gabby is who Gabby is, which is she's been like one of my favorite parts of the season so far, and I can say that because I'm not playing. But no, I've been really enjoying the first 3 episodes of the season, truly. Like I love seeing all my season 3 people get to shine. Every single one of them have had their moments so far, so that's really exciting. And it's been really nice to get to know some of the players that I wasn't particularly super familiar with beforehand. It's definitely sad to see some of the early season people going because I feel like they waited the longest, and for them to have it cut short, really, it's unfortunate because I know if that were me, I'd be very upset.
Yeah, no doubt. And then Bryce, you were almost on the season.
I
Like, what?
was.
How do you feel like you would have done?
I just want to say I'm thankful that I was an alternate. This cast is extremely entertaining and I've had such a great time watching them. But as I watch the season, I am already like seeing things and I'm like, that would have pissed me off, or I probably wouldn't have handled that as well. So I definitely think it was a blessing in disguise. And honestly, this season has been everything it needs to be without my presence. So, maybe next time.
Yeah, for sure. Erica, if you somehow had a third chance on this cast, but how would you feel? If you just plopped right in the middle, what would you think?
Look, I would happily come back for a third chance. I'm so glad that this was not my third chance. They are terrifying. I'm scared of them. I'm sorry. I am so afraid of Gabby and Tegan. Most entertaining people to watch. Love watching them. Would hate to be going against those girls. No way.
Yeah, I totally agree. Big players, big time players. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we'll get into it eventually, but I think they're definitely going to be players to watch moving forward, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it episode by episode. We took a little bit big picture, but let's run through it. Initially, with episode one, starting out, we have these intro groups, and fight or flight staple. But of course, they had to come with a twist. We're initially gonna come out and nominate someone in each of these intro groups, which I thought was a really great twist. That was really well done, starting it off hot. And I mean, the major takeaway for me was that all this self-nominating, like what is
Oh
going
my
on?
God.
Three out of the four groups had someone self-nominate. How do you guys feel about that?
I was shaking my head immediately. I'm just like, you're getting the second chance to play this game, and you're immediately out the gate, like putting yourself in harm. I just don't get it. Like, that can never be me personally. So I was very confused, to say the least. I don't know if there was maybe like other side of the coin where they were like, maybe there will be a benefit to being the person selected because fight or flight does what fight or flight does. But like, I personally would have played it safe, and I would have definitely not been volunteering to be nominated 30 seconds into the game, I fear.
I think the only way it makes sense to like fall on your sword and be a martyr of that kind is if you actually want and are ready to go home. If you aren't ready to go home immediately, why are you being this stupid? No one's asking you to self-sacrifice like this. Like, it's not a great move. And frankly, like, Finn's the only person who gets actually nominated and doesn't like nominate himself. And as much as I hated seeing Greta go home, I was glad it was someone who was self-nominated that went home and not Finn, because like, yeah, you kind of deserve it at that point. You put yourself on the chopping block, like you deserve to get chopped.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly, I totally agree. I think Greta had a great path forward in the game, had a lot of allies, but at some point, can't feel too bad. I don't know. You did self-nominate, so and I will say, like, I can kind of understand it from like Davey's perspective. I know Davey feels good about like competitions, and I think he was right to think that if he was in a bottom situation, he did have a lot of season four people protecting him. But still, like, you can't do that on night one, especially, you don't know who you're going up against. You don't know the full cast as well. So maybe there would have been less people as you would think. So definitely
Yeah.
was very interesting to see. And then, Finn does get nominated, and I thought this group was very fascinating too. We had Maddie, Weston, Tori, Finn, and Sarah Beth in this group. Two season three reps, two season four, and Finn from season two. I thought this was so entertaining. I was glued to the
Yeah.
screen. Um, just Finn's hatred of Sarah Beth, like where did that come from? That was incredible.
Especially because Sarah Beth is the hardest fucking person. Or can we curse here? Sarah Beth is the hardest person to hate, but is my point. Like, Sarah Beth is genuinely like one of the biggest sweethearts ever. So I was like, this is crazy, but like Erica said, Finn is just so entertaining. So it was really interesting to watch.
For me, Finn's immediate glob onto like attacking Sarah Beth makes perfect sense when you know about the stank face thing from season two with Laura. Because Finn, my God, just hated Laura just for her face. And so Finn's immediate dislike of Sarah Beth was very entertaining and really tracks with Finn. However, I do think rather than maybe going so bold and immediately nominating Sarah Beth, Finn maybe should have looked around and realized that he was outnumbered by the season four and season three folk and not put himself in harm's way by immediately nominating Sarah Beth. So I don't know it was the best. Clearly, it wasn't a good decision, but God, it was entertaining. So you know what? You can always count on Finn for that.
But I
Yeah.
do think that that particularly is what has made Finn a consecutive target up to this point. Just coming
Hmm.
out of the gate so hot, it kind of felt like, unfortunately, one of the situations this season where maybe someone didn't learn as much from their first time around that as they maybe should have. As entertaining as it is, I'm a game bot. We know this, so I'm thinking of the strategic implications, and I'm like, I just would not have done that personally.
Yeah.
Absolutely was a terrible decision overall.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give Finn some credit here because I feel like if Finn is quiet, more laid back, I think we would have seen the same thing. I think Finn would have been
Hmm.
nominated regardless. So I do think Finn had to do something in that situation. I mean, it was almost on Sarah Beth. It almost was on Tori for a second there. So, but I do very much agree with that. Since you're coming out so hot, that has made Finn that consecutive target and definitely out there with, someone easy to name and someone that, Sharon did name in the second episode, and was also named by Ivan in the third episode. So
Which
it's tough, tough call though.
Weston's pull to try and save Sarah Beth by throwing Tori's name in the ring, I was really confused by that. I'm like, why would you, if you're genuinely trying to save Sarah Beth, where do the numbers compute where you're like, let me throw out this random third party that also happens to be from, like I don't know. It didn't make a whole bunch of sense to me. Love Weston, but I was like, if you really wanted to make something shake there, like you should have just pushed it on Finn to begin with. And luckily, Sarah Beth eventually got there and defended herself and deflected in that way. But like, it wasn't particularly effective on Weston's behalf.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the perspective, like, oh, he got second place. That would be someone easy to throw out. But, like, then that means you need Finn and Sarah Beth to come together on that because Maddie and Tori are always going to vote
Right.
together.
Hmm. Hmm. I think there's also a little bit maybe of an underestimation of how well liked Tori actually is amongst the season forecast. Um, because I mean, like I know from playing with Tori, I always loved Tori. And that was pretty true. I mean, there's a reason he made it all the way to second in season four. So I think there was just a little bit of a misunderstanding of that unity of the season four members on that suggestion from Weston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to give Maddie some credit too. I felt like her strategy to, copy Henry and hit it at the last second, I felt like that was very impressive. And that was something really cool to see from Maddie on her second chance here off the rip.
She, I also think, might get underrated sometimes for how clever and like I'm saying this with all the love in the world, but how conniving she can be. I mean that in the best way possible. I think it's a great trait to have in fight or flight. Yeah, I think she's a lot more brilliant than people give her credit for. I think her dimples throw people off.
I mean, I agree to that. So I think that I mean, I felt like she was the biggest player of season four and, up
Yeah.
into her elimination. So I'm really excited to see where Maddie's going. I feel like she has a really strong, solid trajectory moving forward, no doubt.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, we get into the season. We have our four nominations. We see some cool callbacks. We see a little rogue action. I was like, okay, okay, CJ, new rogue. Like, I was like,
My
okay.
girl.
Yeah, that was really cool. And then, we have this scavenger hunt comp. We have a few callbacks. You guys have like a favorite callback or like, oh, okay, Dusty Flannel coming back again? Like anything that you were like, maybe it would have been cool to see this moment?
I'm biased as fuck on this one. It has to be Jesse's dumpster fire. I'm so sorry. Like that was such an insane moment. Also, my face in that thumbnail is
Yeah.
insane. But like that one just has to be my favorite because that was one of the craziest moments that I've ever sat through in my life overall, but definitely in fight or flight.
For me, the clip of Anna's ice pack was like that killed me. I couldn't stop giggling. I loved that one specifically just for how funny it was. But as far as like callbacks that I would like to see, like Sean's RBF would have been crazy. And just bring like a photo or something. I don't know. But like that was just such a crazy portion of season three that would have been fun to include.
Yeah, I agree. That was a really, really good moment. I think that would have been tough too. Like giving back a picture, I think that would have been a good idea for that one too. And then with Jesse's exit, I mean, I think that's one of the best episodes in Fight or Flight history. I think up there for me. So I really think that was a good callback to have too. So it's really good. So we end up seeing Davy win. Davy ends up saving Jackie. Not a surprise, but did you think there was like anything that Finn or Greta could have said in that moment? Or like, yeah, I agree. I agree. So
No.
I mean, it's so tough in that spot when you have a season 4 rep. I think, if Davy doesn't save Jackie there, I think she's definitely in a lot of trouble as we see moving forward. But how do you feel about the decision? Do you agree with Davy for doing that?
Look, I think if I were Davy, I was definitely going to pick Jackie. If it were me, though, like as Erica, I definitely would have been saving Greta just because just like Davy had a little bit of a guilt thing of trying to make up for something that he did in season 4 and saving Jackie. I feel like I owe something to Greta, so that's where I would have been. But I think with Davy as the person picking, there was nothing that Greta or Finn could have ever said that would have made any difference in the world.
Plus, Jackie seems very delightful. So honestly, if I was in Davy's shoes, I would have probably saved Jackie too, just because I haven't played with any of the nominations at that point.
Yeah, I agree. And we get into Keeper Swap. And Keeper Swap on the first episode is crazy. Final 20, Keeper Swap is wild. Anthony, producers, you guys ate with that. Great twist. Put everyone on their toes. But Bryce, I gotta go to you. You went out on Keeper Swap. Like, how do you feel overall? You've seen this twist, night one. Like, how would you have played this?
Oh gosh. I mean, so keeper swap in my position in season 3 was a lot easier, I'd say, because at that point you already have a general sense for who wants you there, who doesn't. So you just have to figure out whether they're lying to you or not. And so luckily, Ivan never told me the truth. So I expected whatever he said to be actually the truth. But for me, it was a lot easier. But coming into a 20-person season, you have to worry about where 18 different people are voting, and then not only worry about how they're voting, but you have to worry about how this other person who is in the same boat as you, really with no information, making a decision that can make or break whether you stay in the game. It is so many components. I always feel that way about keeper swap, but in this situation particularly, I mean, like they said, it is definitely very difficult to navigate, but there is a way and you can. It's just not going to be as easy as if it were the final 10. But I do think a lot more was in their control than maybe they let themselves believe, which is fair enough. Night one, you are in a keeper swap situation. I would have been like shitting my pants, to be real. I would have been horrified.
Yeah, I think they both did very well in figuring out Greta definitely knew she needed to keep and Finn definitely knew yeah, he needed to swap. I think, it's very tough and I want to give them grace, but I think they definitely could have done a better job of like having their allies go out and spread and try to get because it's not only deciding what you need to do, but also influencing the other person. And then, maybe they could have done something in the chat with each other, but like that's kind of a stretch too. But
Yeah.
I think we just didn't get to that like second level of like, okay, I know what I need to do, but I need to then flip the other person to do what I need them to do.
I thought it was interesting that they both chose to be honest about how they were voting, and
That was
that they
also
just
nice.
came out and said it in the large chat. So respect for that.
But like I mean I respect it in a way I suppose, but like I was also like you just handed all of your cards away. Like you
Yeah.
literally like at that point if you're keeping and you're swapping, then why are any of us voting right now? Because it won't matter. Like, you take away the agency that people have in that moment and then they're not as inclined to keep you because they have no agency in the situation. So I don't know. That was crazy to me. It worked out for I mean, I guess they got what they wanted from the situation, but I just don't know if that's a play that I would have made.
Yeah. Yep. I
I
agree with that
def-
too.
yeah, I definitely wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at that point in the deliberation, it's like almost too late. I mean, maybe you can say something to throw the other person off. And I know that Tegan maybe was looking how to vote as well and trying to put her vote in the right direction. So But at that point, I think it's too late. But I agree. Like at that point, then you really truly are locking yourself into the 50-50. And I want 100% of staying. I don't want no 50-50 on the night one. So
Yeah.
yeah. I also want to talk about this alliance that's formed. We see the Girls alliance get formed in this episode, consisting of Maddie, Esme, Ivan, and Gabby. I think this could be an alliance to watch out for. How do you feel about this alliance? And Bryce, I know Ivan and Gabby coming together. I think that's something to watch out for.
Yeah, I mean, Ivan and Gabby working together, I mean, they're both, first of all, like so fun to watch as characters. But obviously that alliance already has some cracking going on. I know we're talking about episode one, but if we look forward a little bit, um, Ivan and Esme don't trust each other because of outside game reasons. So that's already, one strike. And then Esme has just been very how do I say, like, she's just not been very like withholding of information, and like it is causing such distrust on her, which is so unfortunate because I love Esme. But like I just this group in general, and then Maddie is like, why are you continuously saying my name? Like, please just shut it down. And so I think that alliance is not built to last, and I don't know if we'll see too much more mention of it outside of it. But obviously, Gabby and Ivan working together is exciting.
Yeah, Erica, what do you think of this too?
Yeah, I have very, very similar thoughts to Bryce on this. I think individually, those are four strong players. I think that four leaders together doesn't always work. You need
Yep.
some followers and all. And I mean, I reacted pretty strongly when you mentioned about Esme not being withholding about information, which I think we'll probably get to a little bit later. But um, I went into this. I love Esme. She's who I threw my vote behind from the beginning on this. But it has been difficult to watch that portion. I've been screaming at my TV a lot during
Yeah.
those moments. And yeah, Esme and Ivan having this deep beef. Yeah, that can't be good for an alliance, even if you're like, well, we can look past it. I don't know if you can. It seems to go a little bit too far for that. So yeah, I don't think this alliance is long for the world.
Yeah.
No. And while I hate to bring it up, but like we're talking about Gabby. I wanted to talk about how her and she immediately had distrust in Nora when Nora's like, well, I'm not going to be close with Sarah. Like, first of all, Gabby's very real for that because, like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm not. Like, do you think I'm look dumb? Like, I'm not dumb. Like, that was how I would react to that, even though I obviously adore Nora. But like, if Nora looked me in my face and said, no, I'm not going to tell my come on, like let's be real for a second. And Gabby was very real about that. So I thought that was very funny.
Yeah. Yeah, we can quickly side note and like talk about the sisters because I think that is also something to mention is that I think they're both like spreading themselves out. I mean, we'll get to Sarah in like episode two and what she does, but like, how do you think that their relationship is going to go moving forward?
Honestly, I foresee them building a stronger alliance than they initially claim that they anticipated to build. Your sisters at the end of the day. And like, I have a sister, and I could go into something being like, yeah, I'm not on her side. At the end of the day, I'm picking my sister. Like, yeah. And so, yeah, I think that it's going to make them targets or one of them a target sooner rather than later. I'm surprised. I know we'll get to episode two soon, but I'm surprised it didn't come back to bite Sarah in the ass faster.
Yeah. And honestly, I love them both. So they can do no
Hmm.
wrong in my eyes, but I will criticize the game moves. But like they can do no wrong in my eyes. I love them. But I don't foresee both of them making it super long. I mean, if I were there, like obviously I wouldn't get rid of Nora because I know Nora and I love Nora, but like they both would not make it far if I had anything to do with it.
Um, I think I honestly feel the same like how I felt in the draft where I thought I wanted one sister on my team, but I don't know. I think, like you said, potentially I think one of the sisters will go potentially soon. Definitely big targets. But I think there's opportunity for the other sister, whoever survives, to go and
Hmm.
reintegrate. So I'm very curious to see how that turns out.
I do agree with that.
Yeah. Well, ending episode one, we see Greta go out on the 50-50 here. Give a to eulogize Greta a little bit here. I think, Greta had a really fun run on season two, like really logical, very deep thinker. She had a very fun episode one here as well. Had a lot of confessionals, a lot of great insights, and I really think she was set up very long for the game. So I am sad to see her go. Obviously, she did self-nominate, but I think her and Ivan's relationship was also very fun as well. I think she could have been fitting really well into a lot of the, alliance that was going on, especially like someone from season two that could have integrated into season three and season four potentially. But, um, how do you feel about Greta's run here? I mean, it could always be a third chance for Greta down the road. What do we think?
I am devastated, obviously. I really do love Greta. I also, having played with Greta, like I'm really familiar with her game, and I think she really genuinely was one of the top players in season two. Um, I think Zach was pulling a lot of strings in season two that weren't really clear to a lot of us while it was happening. And I was really excited for her to have a season without him and to see how well she could shine if maybe there wasn't someone doing that behind the scenes. So it's really devastating, and I am a little frustrated with her for self-nominating because I don't think she would have been on the chopping block at all if she hadn't. Um, and I do feel like we got a little bit robbed of some Greta, so I do hope she has a third chance in the future. Because yeah, this was just way too short of a run for her. She had a lot more brilliance to share.
I am not as familiar with Greta as Erica is, obviously, but like I was super excited based off of what I had seen throughout the first episode to see her move forward in the game. I thought that she had a lot of potential. And if I'm being honest, I see the appeal of Finn as a character, as a villain. But when it comes to Finn, I am not really the biggest fan of him, and I know if I was playing the game, he would stress me the hell out. So, obviously I wanted to see Finn go in that moment, so I was very sad that it was Greta that ended up leaving.
Now Greta's out of the game. We move on, episode two, and we hear kind of in the pre-round that, Sarah wants to do something big. Sarah's kind of getting a little itch to do something a little crazy. We see this alliance get formed called the Trustfecta, which is consisting of Ivan, Sarah Beth, Sheridan, Jess, Shrishti, Nora, and Sarah. And eventually, in this episode, Sarah is going to target one of the members of that alliance. Um, Very interesting. How do you feel about like Sarah's move here?
I don't really see why, to be honest. Like I said, she seems delightful and I really like her. But like it was very confusing to me. There are plenty of people in the game that you are not aligned with. So to take a shot directly at one person that you have established at least like some sort of like mutual agreement with, it just didn't make a whole bunch of sense to me. I didn't see it. Like I get it. I love a big move and I get an itch for one on occasion. But it's the second night of the game, Like why does it have to be now? You actually are not really in trouble in any capacity outside of your relationship with your sister, and now you're kind of shining a spotlight on yourself. It felt like a coagulation of just messiness, and I didn't see the vision, but love that for her.
I question alliances that are like, I know it's not a huge alliance, but it's like a fairly big alliance. Um, and like I understand the point of them because you want to have a majority vote, but no one stays loyal in alliances like that. And obviously because she immediately turned, and so like I fundamentally don't comprehend forming an alliance to immediately break it, but also just like forming an alliance that large knowing that you can't really trust the people within it because everyone is out for themselves in these games. And that's why, like, I don't know, clearly I've never been on the right side of the vote like in the history of my time on Fight or Flight, so like what would I know about being in a majority? But like, yeah, it just doesn't compute to me logically. And so, yeah, like Bryce said, like it just did not track to me whatsoever. I'm not sure why she did that.
Yeah. I think it's funny, just a sidestep for a second that I mean, hey, you were the vote to send Sarah home in season four. I'm just saying that, but
You know? At
but
that point.
yeah. With Sarah here, I'm I think Sarah is like the person I'm like watching almost the most, where it feels that Sarah is playing very differently than she had in season four. I was very tight with her in my original like Good Vibes alliance with her, Cody and Jackie, and I got to see like a lot of her play, and she is definitely sticking to what she said in her pregame as well of wanting to like flex her agency a little bit more, wanting to throw out some names. I just think it's the wrong time. Like Bryce, what you said, where she's coming in with her sister, she's making herself too known. And she's also on my draft team, so I'm like, Sarah, I'm gonna need you to chill a little bit. But yeah, I'm definitely watching Sarah a lot. I feel like she has had this, major moment. She also did something in episode three we'll get to. Um, I don't know. I also feel like that protecting Jackie is also like advantageous for her. I just don't think spending a lot of social capital this early to get Sheridan out is like super advantageous. I think the good news is obviously Sheridan blew up, and I think that's a good cover for her as well. So it didn't really backfire on her. So I think in that regard it's good, but I think like this in combination with what happens in the next episode is something to watch out for.
Mhm.
What I also find interesting is just the contrast between Nora and Sarah, like, and how they play the game. It is like so drastically different because we know Nora from season three. Like, Nora is very like kind, like easy to talk to, very approachable, and like is more so behind the scenes. That's Nora's thing. Whereas you see Sarah, and Sarah's just taking the bull by the horns here. And I thought that was really just kind of funny to see how differently they both play.
I also like can't blame Sarah for playing like that, having been tied to Jesse against her will in season four. I think that there's a lot of her that kind of like what you were saying, Nathan, about like retaking her agency. And so like I do think that it makes sense for her to want to be a bold player. I just also agree that it might be a little bit too early for her to be making as bold of moves as she is. And she maybe should have waited two or three more episodes before really going for like some moves this large.
Yeah. I do want to give her some credit too. Like obviously she was tied to Jesse as a soulmate, and I do
Hmm.
think part of her is like taking that into this game and wants to like show what she can do.
Hmm.
But obviously a little too soon. A little too
Yeah.
soon. But we get into this power or safety competition, a little bit of a word scramble, super fun. We had three players flight. Davey is going to be ending up winning this power. And I was a little gagged. I was like, okay, fight or flight, little twist on the fight pass. So this fight pass is going to expire at final 14, which potentially could be around the jury phase. I think, well, that'll be something to watch for in the upcoming episodes. But how do you feel about an expiration date on the fight pass?
I think it makes it more interesting. I think, yeah, I think it adds more tension to it. And it adds a little bit of pressure. You can't just hold on to it until, final four, because I think that's when they normally expire is final four. Maybe it's final five. But yeah, having it expire much earlier, like it puts some pressure on it and it's gonna, flip the game around a little bit and add some spice a little bit earlier on. So that's exciting.
Gives us something to look forward to because I mean it's a second chance this season. It's not gonna go like unused, like we're gonna see it come into play at some point, and it's kind of just gonna be building up to that moment. And I'm excited to see like when exactly it comes out because the way I see it, like Davy might not really need it. Like, I mean, Davy is very well positioned, so or at least it seems so to me. Like, so for me, I'm like excited to see what happens with it because there's no guarantee that it'll just be Davy.
Yeah. And I think he did a great job this round too of, no one even like threw his name out or even thought in like confessional it was going to be him. Seemed like, no detection at all. So how do you feel about like how Davey is moving? And would you have, been speculating in this round? I think there was a lot of speculation, which also hurt Sheridan too. But how would you be playing this as well?
Ooh.
I think for me, I probably would have just not worried about it too much because the fact of the matter is there's still 19 people there. I'm never going to like I would love to think that highly of myself, but I'm never going to accurately guess who has it. And if I do, it's just because of luck and nothing because of what I actually perceived. So I wouldn't be overthinking it too much. I would just kind of let it be what it is because there's a lot of game left to play. And if you get hyper focused on something like that, you might just derail yourself.
And like as long as you don't out yourself to anybody as having yeah, the fight pass, it's like the best guess that anyone had was based off of facial expressions, which like as we saw doesn't mean anything at
At
all.
all.
Exactly how this ends up playing out is they take a guess based on a weird facial expression and it means nothing because Sheridan doesn't have the fight pass. Um, and I think it's in good hands with Davey. Also, Davey, just side note, because we're bringing him up, what a fucking comp beast. Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was very surprised by this. Davey was picked last in the draft that we had, and I think that, you know, Davey's very good at comps. I
Mm-hmm.
am worried for him in that regard, especially once and if the fight pass gets played. And let's say, he does go in the fight pass comp and he wins that. I think his threat level to will increase. But I think for now, like Bryce said, Davey is in a very good position. I feel that he's doing very well. And I think, he's definitely got some legs. I just think that he needs to be a little bit more integrated. I think we just don't know a lot about like where he truly stands socially besides like season four. But other
Mm-hmm.
than that, definitely in a good spot for sure.
Well, I mean, being integrated has been the down, as we see in the episodes, that's what is really biting some people in the ass a little bit. Like their reputation, at least. They aren't always facing the repercussions of it, but like they're definitely being talked about. So I don't know. I think his laying low is it's very advantageous for him.
Yeah. And in this round, we end up seeing, two names primarily. We see, of course, Jackie's name get thrown out a lot and Sheridan's name get thrown a lot. We go into the deliberation, either Sheridan or Jackie. And at least from my perspective, I thought for sure Jackie was going home. I thought for sure she was in a lot of danger. Um, I was like very curious of like, did they have the votes to send Jackie home before going in? I was like, I would be curious to know that. But I don't know. What do you both think about this? Like Jackie surviving, but also let's start with Jackie surviving. So, I mean, Jackie survives also in episode three, still in it. How are we feeling about how Jackie's doing right now?
I'm impressed because look, when I left season four, I was still on really good terms with Jackie, but having when I came back at the end of season four, it was like, oh, there's been this huge flip and everyone's turned on Jackie. So I didn't think Jackie was in a particularly good social position coming into this season. And so I've been very shocked to see her turn it around, and I'm pretty happy for her. But if you had told me that I would be rooting for Jackie over Sheridan in an outcome, I would have been shocked. But that's kind of where it ended up with this vote. And I'm really proud of Jackie for because she is actually a huge sweetheart. So I'm like really happy for her that she's been able to turn her social game around and kind of come in with like a clean slate again.
It was very surprising to me, I guess, to see Jackie be consistently like brought up. I don't know. I think that was confusing to me because she genuinely seems like so delightful. Like just off first impression, me personally, she would have been nowhere near my radar if I were there. So seeing everybody kind of just latch onto it was surprising to me. But she, like we said, is a sweetheart through and through. And I think when it came to Sheridan's antics, it definitely made the option to keep Jackie probably quite a bit easier.
Yeah. I think Barbara would have some words about Jackie being considered a
A
sweetheart,
sweetheart,
but
yeah.
but no, I also want to give Jackie some props because I felt like that, especially coming out of like the first episode with Maddie, and then Maddie coming into this episode and being like, actually, maybe I want to protect Jackie. Like that's a crazy switch up
Yeah.
that she was able to
Mm-hmm.
get, and I mean, I think that also like really helped her out a lot that she also didn't have like Gabby and Maddie and like some additional season four folk pushing on her because I think she definitely would have gone home.
Hmm.
But we eventually get to the elimination and seems like 50-50 maybe or up in the air. I thought Jackie was gonna go.
I
I
did
was
too.
I was shook. But then this is wild. Sheridan is like, I don't really want to target Jackie. Let me throw out a third name and throws out Finn out of nowhere, a fellow season two player. Erica, why? Do you have any insight to this season two? What's going on?
Look, okay, it's been a long time since I filmed season two, but I have no recollection of any beef between Sheridan and Finn. That felt, look, Sheridan and me, sure. Finn and me, sure. Those two, no. I would have never expected that in 1,000 years. And one, I don't know why Sheridan felt the need to even try and deflect from Jackie. I don't know why she would feel any amount of loyalty to Jackie whatsoever. Or, and I definitely don't get why, of all people, other than because Finn's name had already been brought up, but like that's just as stupid of a reason as picking someone for their facial expression, which is how Sheridan got here. So like it really didn't make sense to me, and I feel like Sheridan took an easy win and ruined it for herself.
I think the only logic I can see to stand behind it is like Finn is also from season two, an early season that doesn't have many numbers. So if you take the target off of somebody who maybe has more numbers or more agency, maybe that look makes you look more favorable to the people that are about to vote you out. I don't know. I don't really think that's the avenue I would have went, but that's the only logic I can really think of to really defend what happened there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think the main thing is, of course, is like once you get into that deliberation stage, I would say extremely rare that the votes are going to change
Yeah.
unless something drastic happens and you do it
And
to
it,
yourself. And similar
yeah.
to what Sheridan did. I mean, we saw this with like J-Lo and Sabrina in season four of like J-Lo
Oh
being able to switch
yeah.
it up on that. So, I mean, there have been instances of it, but I think in that spot, you just gotta stick it on Jackie, even if like, and then that's also a credit to Jackie is like Sheridan's like, I don't really want to target Jackie. So I think that's also kind of crazy that she even had that, semblance of a pull with Sheridan where she kind of felt like that. But yeah, very sad to see Sheridan go out. I mean, she was super fun. I want to, salute, do my best, of course. Salute on out to
I don't
Sheridan.
support nationalism, says Nora.
Oh my god, that my favorite. I think that's my favorite line from Fight or Flight history. By the way,
Yeah, I
incredible.
mean that is incredible. I mean, yeah, that whole sequence very well edited. I mean, with the
Riot with
anthem in the
the
background.
trans flag.
Yes,
I loved every second.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think with Sheridan, she's got to feel good. She had an iconic exit. I mean,
Yeah.
a really fun, flame out here. But um, I don't know, Erica, how do you feel with Sheridan going out here to season two, back to back in 2 episodes?
Look, I have a profound love for Sheridan because the only reason that I was able to come back after I was eliminated in season two is because I placed my bets on Sheridan and she won the game and she
Yep,
pulled me
yep.
back in. Yes, I did also help to get her eliminated shortly after that. So I can't talk too much, but you know, I have a lot of loyalty to my season four folks, but my heart is really with my season two folks. So like I really was throwing it behind all of them. Like I really wanted to put my support behind all of them. So to see Greta go out and then Sheridan, it's like this is heartbreaking. And both of them did it to themselves. And I think that's the part that's so frustrating to me about both of them. Also, Sheridan is mostly very quiet. For her to go out because she opened her mouth, crazy. Just
Wow.
zip it.
Yeah.
See, one instance where sometimes you don't want to change some of the things you did the first time around because you didn't do that bad, Like there I think that like that's like the biggest thing about a second chances season is like you definitely want to learn from your mistakes, but it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
hurt to identify your successes as well. Like you did do things right. Like if you did nothing right your first time around, then maybe you shouldn't have applied in the first place. But like at some point you've done something right, so identify that, figure out what it was and use it because people are already going to think you're that person regardless of how you act anyways.
Mm-hmm. And like Sheridan and Trishti were pretty close in season two. So like, Sheridan was coming in with like at least one likely ally in the game, whereas like some of the people coming in, like Finn really didn't have many allies from season two coming into this because Finn's main ally in season two was Emily, and Emily's not here. So it's like Sheridan should have had a slight upper hand here, and it's kind of sad that she blew it.
Yeah, unfortunately, because I was super excited. I found Sheridan very endearing. I even during the big blunder during the deliberation, I was kind of giggling. I was like, there's no way I would vote her out for this. Like that's ridiculous. Like it's obviously she's just having a good time, but like I don't know. I I didn't see it. I was like, if I was going into that deliberation with the mindset of I'm voting out Jackie, nothing in that deliberation probably would have changed my mind personally.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. And then even, having the knowledge that Jackie did place third as well, I really feel like that she's way more of a threat than Sheridan will ever be, especially
Absolutely.
in that regard. So definitely a surprising outcome. But here we are, and we move on to episode 3, where we start out with Return of the Files. Oh, how I love the
Ugh.
files. Oh, how I'm so used to this.
Well, because
And we see and we see a little bit some powers. Okay, I'm also familiar with this. But we don't see the outcome of the powers until the next episode. I believe those who chose the power were Ivan, Esme, and Sarah Beth. So that'd be very interesting. I think, we can hypothesize maybe it's potentially Blood Diamond adjacent. Maybe it could be a little twist on that of some sort, because we did see, of course, the fight pass did have a change to being expiring at the final 14, so maybe it's something a little bit different. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think this is Blood Diamond Part 2, or is it going to be something new?
I don't anticipate it being maybe exactly the same as the Blood Diamond. I know we're bringing back like nods to past twists, but like they've all had their own twist within itself. So I don't know if I particularly see it being season three's Blood Diamond, but well, I guess we'll see.
Something that I always like to keep in mind is that Anthony is an evil mastermind, and I just don't foresee him keeping the same thing when he could instead switch it up and keep everyone on their toes.
And make it more evil.
Yes,
Hmm.
exactly.
Right. Like I think he could like definitely up the stakes and make a certain part of it more powerful. So I think last time it was like extra vote, steal a vote, then fight pass. So like part of that, each individual step could be changed, or same with the expiration date, something like that he could have toyed with. So I'm very excited to see what exactly they do with that. We'll find out.
Hmm.
Yeah. But we end up getting to the really rapid relay race. And I told Anthony this personally. I thought this was probably one of the best competitions they've ever done. I thought this was
Mhm.
super entertaining. I thought the bitch roll was fascinating with all they had to do. But like, how did you guys enjoy this comp? I loved it. I thought it was really well done, especially considering season one, like it was a little bit of a flop because it took so long.
I adored this. I loved it so much. It was a nice spin-off of like the original Boss or Bitch, which yes, I was in fact the boss. But yeah, it was a really nice switch up on that to see it's so fun. The bitch role was like extremely entertaining. I love how distracting Twinkle Twinkle Little Star was for everyone doing the crossword puzzle. That made it hilarious. Yeah, it was just, and I liked that the like humiliating things that the bitch had to do were really not embarrassing at all. Um,
Right.
so like it was just like fun, really. It wasn't like, oh, this is cruel to be doing to this person. Like it was
Yeah.
just fun as hell.
No, I loved this competition. I thought it was super fun and like all the different little mini challenges, like there I wanted to play it. I was like watching it and I'm like, okay, maybe I do kind of want to be there. But like it was really fun. And I mean Weston shushing trying to do the crossword and then not even finishing anyway. I mean, please. It was too good.
You're good. Yeah, and we end up seeing the Orange team come out on top. They actually win every single leg of the
Oh
relay race,
wow.
which was
Yeah.
nuts. So that was really well impressive on their part. And then we see the bitch has a little bit of a twist. So Noah was the bitch for the orange team, has the opportunity to save either the green or the purple team. And I found his decision very surprising because I felt like saving Jackie, that was very surprising, being that part of his logic. And then you put your season one buddy here, Sebastian, in a lot of danger, and he ends up going home. So obviously, it's a little result oriented. I mean, I felt like that in the moment was the wrong call, and ended up being the wrong call in my opinion. But what do you guys think?
I don't know that I feel that picking the green team was a bad call overall. I didn't track the logic. I was like, wait, did I miss something when Noah and Jackie were like built some like sort of extremely strong alliance? Like I felt like I had missed something and I needed to go back and rewatch. I was just kind of generally confused by the logic there. Um, yeah, yeah, I don't know.
I think whether Noah's move was smart or not just heavily depends on what their goal was to begin with. I mean, if you want to expand connections, sure, but if you're trying to protect like season one, you look at Tegan, who doesn't seem to like her name doesn't come up really at all.
Mm-mm.
I don't think she's in trouble in any capacity if she ends up not being safe. And then you have Sebastian, who's just coming off the last episode, pushing really hard for Jackie to go, even though Sebastian is safe and doesn't need to do anything and should probably just sit back. But, anyways, coming out of that round and choosing not to save Sebastian, I just don't see how that outcome wasn't at least anticipated a little bit. Because not only are you putting Sebastian in danger, but you're also protecting the one person that Sebastian just put his whole game on the line to try and get out. I don't know. So it kind of made me feel like Noah wasn't particularly concerned whether or not Sebastian stayed or not.
Right. Yeah, and I feel like he should have been concerned. In my opinion, I feel like it's so tough with season one and season two. You have so little numbers in that spot. I think you have to just be so concerned about keeping those numbers when you can, because someone like Tegan is going to be fine. She's super connected, going to be super good. If someone is looking to target season one, now it's just Noah and Tegan, and I think Noah's going to go before Tegan. That'd be my guess. So I'm interested to see how that will play out. But that's a little prediction. We'll see what happens though. But we also have a flight twist option and an option to ditch your team, which we see Sarah end up taking this option. I was pretty surprised as well. We already spoke on Sarah a little bit, but what do we feel about this decision from Sarah?
Once she had elaborated, like, I wanted to increase my odds because if I choose wrong, then I'm not safe with a whole team. Whereas if I choose correctly, then I avoid being one of only like maybe three people, up for elimination. So like that part made sense, but the game exists beyond this singular round. And I think there is a lack of like foresight in that just because like it does create a perception. It didn't seem like people really cared that much at the end of the day, but me personally, I would have been like I wouldn't have taken the flight. I would have probably just let things fall where they may and go from there because you don't want to go out of your way to do something that's going to put you in an even worse position.
My whole thing is, I think it was a dumb move for literally anyone to take the flight option here. Um, because one, this comes back to it kind of being your fault if you end up going home. Like, look, if your team isn't selected for safety and your whole team's on the line, and then you happen to be the person who goes home, that really wasn't in your control. And if you decide to be the one person who flights and then everyone turns on you because you flighted, girl, that's your fault. And obviously that didn't happen to Sarah. So, like, okay. But, like, still, you're kind of going to make some enemies by doing that because it makes you look like you're not loyal to a team, which, like, I understand these teams were loosely established. They're not true alliances. No one really cares about them. I get that. But, like, it's just not a great look. And now, like, no one was targeting Sarah. Sarah was never a name. I don't know why she would think that she would be unsafe, even if her team was unsafe. And now she has two times in a row kind of done something bold that puts her in the spotlight, and I don't think in the spotlight for a good reason. um I am concerned about Sarah moving forward past episode 3. Um, she is starting to make me nervous. And like, I love Sarah. I don't want her to go home this quickly. I think she can be a really big player. I just wish she was a little bit more careful with the decisions that she's been making.
And
Yeah.
I think once you kind of put your foot on the gas, it's really easy for you to just believe like, oh, like I already did it. Like I'm already put myself out there. I have to just keep rolling with it. But like you can pull back. You don't have to continue to be at the forefront, especially with 18 people left in the game. You can just reel it back in a little bit. But like that's 2 rounds in a row where now people might be looking at her some type of way because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you have the oh gosh, the trustfecta, who's now looking at you kind of funny because you just outwardly went after somebody that you had a like connection, with. But like now you're stepping away from your team, singling yourself out. Like you literally, I mean, you can't hide. Like your name was called out. Everyone knows you just did that. Like you're just putting yourself right in the limelight. And I just, with 18 people left, that's the last place I would want to be.
Yeah. And I believe it was Jackie that said in her confessional that I think it was a trap. I think both of you guys had great points. I think honestly it was a trap, and I don't think anyone should have done it, unless unless you're Sebastian, unless you're the one going home, unless you like truly think you're in danger, right? But I also found it a little ironic that she came after Jesse on season 4 for putting her in the spotlight, and then she was like I'm gonna be safe. I can trust my social game. So I think she should have trusted herself here, trust her social game in
Mm-hmm.
this spot. I think both in round 3, which is pretty funny too. But we end up getting to the deliberation. We have a few names thrown out. We have, Tori, Sebastian, a little bit from Finn, from Ivan. I thought that was interesting that Ivan was throwing out Finn's name and it didn't really get any traction. I think we haven't really talked a ton about Ivan. I think Ivan has been playing very well, very connected, but I
Yes.
felt that this was like the first mistake I think I saw from Ivan was that it wasn't getting any traction, and I don't think this was the right time. But we end up getting Tori and Sebastian, these two names kind of floating around, and we end up getting to the deliberation as well. Both of them kind of going at it a little bit. Sebastian has a little bit of an HR pitch. I believe that was described. But how do we feel about how this deliberation went? And do you think like did Sebastian have any shot to save himself here, or was it too far gone?
I mean, I just hearing all the information all in one place at once against him. I mean, you kind of like, I wouldn't trust him. I just wouldn't, unfortunately. I mean, if you're outside of the 10, you're looking inside and being like, what the hell? And then if you're inside the 10, you're looking at it like, what the hell? Because you didn't like really agree to work with all these people. Like, you're being thrown in. It was kind of like, there's an early alliance in season 3 that got somebody voted out, but like it's very that situation. It's like I don't want to be there. Like I didn't agree to this. I actually want nothing to do with anyone here. So like I think that he had just set himself up for failure, unfortunately. But the whole argument with Tori, that I don't really know that it will. I don't know. For me personally, when someone says to me, like, I feel like you didn't respect me, I don't take that as I've been disrespectful. It's just you don't have like hold that person in high regard. That's how I would take it personally. And obviously, like, Tori took it a completely different way. And that's just from person to person. I'm understanding things. So, like, if it like hurt his feelings that that was said, like, I can absolutely understand why. But when you're playing a strategic game, sometimes you have to like just take it on the chin a little bit.
My whole thing with this is that I understand that this is a fresh season. It is season 5. It is not season 1. It's not season 4. That being said, season 1 people already don't have a lot of people there. Season 4, there's a pretty sizable amount. Sebastian is the second person who goes home in season 1. Tori came in second place in season 4. Tori and Jackie are very close, like from the original game. Davy and Tori were always on good terms. Like, no one disliked Tori in season 4, as far as I know, at least not while I was there. Um, I think Sebastian really had no comprehension of what he was messing with in this. I don't think he understood how well liked Tori is, and that he did not have the social game to be competing on this level with Tori. And I don't think that there is anything that Sebastian could have said that could have saved his ass. And I don't think that there's anything that Tori could have said that would have gotten his ass. So like I just feel like this was a really uninformed and uneducated choice on Sebastian's part, throwing out Tori like that. I really don't think he knew what he was diving headfirst into.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Tori has a lot of connections, very good one-on-one. I mean, Tori had a few people say like, "Hey, I haven't connected with him yet." I think Tori takes a little bit of time to get going, but now that I think
Mm-hmm.
that he's survived this, he's definitely going to find his footing, especially with the Melon and Poppin alliance that also is formed as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, with Sebastian too, it's really a lot about narrative, right, on returning player seasons. And I think the main one with Sebastian was right. He's a comp threat. He won in season one. He also got the flight option in, episode two, which kept him safe. It's not like he got a power, but also, you know, that's your one narrative is that you're going to be good at comps too. So I think it was just something that was easy, something that you can, snipe out a comp threat early. And then you also made this 10-person alliance. You also threw out Jackie's name. I think all of that compounded and tough to see Sebastian go out here. I think, it was really fun to see him get a second shot. Similar to like a Jess that we didn't see that much of from season three. It was cool to see a little bit more of Sebastian, but tough early exit for him and definitely sad to see him go though.
And arguably the most not okay, this might not be the right word, but the most deserved elimination up to this point, I think. I think that he just played himself into a hole and like he dug too deep. He couldn't get out. There was no shot. Like he had just done too many things to rub too many people the wrong way and like he made himself an early target for no reason. Like his week two game is like very frustrating to me. The whole episode, I'm sitting there and watching, and I'm like, you're safe. You literally have no business in this. Like, I personally, I'm safe. I'm gonna shut the hell up. I'm not gonna bring up names. I'm not gonna bring up targets. I'm not going to put myself out there because why would I? Like, why make myself a target a week where there's literally no potential of me going home? So that was really frustrating for me to see. And then that momentum just kept going for him, unfortunately, into that third episode. And it just never got better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And sadly, we see Sebastian go out here, and we come to the end of these three episodes here. Very fun ride. And I think now is a great time to kind of speculate what may happen next. So I prepared a similar tier list to what I had for the draft. I'm going to share my screen, just to let y'all know. We have the remaining 17 players, and we can just quickly go through and we can see where we think they fall or how we think we're
Okay.
going to do. All right. So we can start up at the top. How we feel like Davey's gonna do, and then we can kind of like all decide like, hey, do we think he's like super safe, gonna go far? Is he gonna win the game? So I would say this ranking is based on like how likely are you to win the game? Where are you top tier, like you're in the winner contention, or low tier, you're gonna go out next. You're not gonna win the game. That's kind of what we're basing it off of here.
I want to
So
say that Davy will go very far, but I am afraid that because he is such a comp beast, that it is going to end up with a target on his back at some point, and I fear for that for him. But I think he has the potential to be able to really do some shit in this game.
I'm kind of in the same page. I don't know because of Davies' competition level. I think that I would put him more so in like the high tier rather than top tier because I do
Mm,
think that that's going to become a factor. He's not going to get so lucky and have every competition be anonymous, unfortunately. So I think he has an opportunity moving forward to like kind of reel back the competitiveness just for, perception wise. And if he does that, then I think he has a really long haul in him. And I think he has actually all the components it takes to get to the end of fight or flight. It's just about playing the right cards at the right time, and we'll see how it plays out for him. But I think he's got really good odds.
100%.
couldn't agree
Yeah, I think
more.
he's, yeah, positive edit so far, like no real negative content. I think I'm the only concerned about like I need a little bit more relationship like updates on how exactly he's moving socially. But I think, it's been a little circumstantial about with his power and winning the comp. But I do think that I think he's pretty much a lock to make the jury with the fight pass. I think you want to bet on Davey on winning a competition if his life is on
Yeah.
the line. So I was vacillating, maybe a high or mid tier, but I do think that if we're also basing it off of like, is he gonna go home next? Absolutely not. So I think,
Yeah.
what do we think? Like a high tier for Davey?
I think
Yeah,
high
that's
tier.
that's
Okay.
exactly where I'd put him.
All right. What do we think about Esme? Where's Esme at in your estimations?
Oh my God. As much as I would love to give Esme a great rating here, I think I'm not going to go as low as to say low tier just because Esme is a very strong social presence and you just want to like Esme, but she is burning so many bridges and it's scaring me. Like every opportunity she has had to kind of prove trust to someone by just keeping something to herself, she hasn't done it, and that is what is very much so stressing me. I don't know, I'm nervous for her.
Yeah, I think sometimes Esme is a little too honest. I think sometimes she doesn't realize that she can hold her cards against her chest. That last moment at the post elimination chat from the
Mhm.
third episode where she throws Riot under the bus.
Oh my
I
God.
think that may have just sealed her fate. Unfortunately, I don't want that to be true. Esme is one of my favorite people in this world. I don't want that to be true, but like I just don't know how it can't be after a move like that, after, outing Weston's whole thing earlier and then this like direct stab in the back to Riot really by telling Gabby. I just don't see how I
what
would put her in a mid tier personally.
what I will say in regard to that is Esme is very lucky that the only like two, like obviously Maddie was like kind of annoyed, but like I think Esme got lucky that the two people she kind of fucked over were two people who are working together. And like, based off the edit alone, I can't tell how interconnected Weston really is.
Hmm.
Because Weston has been very much so like a narrator more than anything at this point.
True.
But with Riot, I love Riot, but she doesn't always have like the take the agency is what I'm saying. Like they let the game go past them sometimes. And I really hope to see less of that from Riot this season. And I think we will. I mean, there's already been so many steps in the right direction, but I think if it comes to a charisma off between Esme and Riot, Esme might take it because Esme's super likable.
That's a really good point. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's why like I wouldn't put Esme definitely in like a low tier. I am afraid for their safety moving forward, but I don't think they belong in like the low tier by any means. I don't think they're next to get out. I also think it might take a while for this, like Gabby might not tell anyone about like the Riot thing anyway. Like we know because we're the audience. It's a little dramatic irony going on. Um
You think
but
Gabby's not gonna tell anyone? You like you
well,
love Gabby, but
you never know, I guess. But I'm like um I just hope that Esme switches the way that they are playing this game and holds their cards closer to their chest moving forward and maybe learns to lie a little bit or at least not always be so honest.
Agreed.
Yeah. And, it is early still. I will give Esme some credit. Like, it is very difficult to get Esme out of the game. Esme has a lot of experience. And I do think, Esme still has the dolls, still has the girls alliance,
Hmm.
still has season four. So I don't think, Esme's going anytime soon, but I definitely agree with, let's eliminate a little bit of the messiness. Let's not,
Yeah.
let's not share everything,
Yeah.
right? All right.
And I'm
So
still
where do
rooting
we
for you,
think?
Esme.
Yeah. I mean, at the start of the season, I felt like maybe Esme is on my winter watch. I mean, I have her in the
Mhm.
group. It's
Yeah.
also a little biased, but
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm vacillating between, the high and the mid tier, but what do you guys think?
I think mid tier, unfortunately. I mean, it
Yeah.
can definitely change, but with the current trajectory, I mean, it is not looking great.
Yeah. Would have to
Yeah.
agree.
All right. On to Finn. How do we feel about Finn?
Oh, Finn, my baby. I don't know. Like, I guess he's had a target on his back from the first episode. And maybe that'll fade because a lot of times it does fade. But I don't know. I'm not feeling great about Finn's choices. And I feel like Finn can quite literally go out at any point at this point in the game.
And I don't see Finn being someone that really many people outside of like maybe Tori are gonna stick their neck out for.
Mm-hmm.
Finn, I mean, he's not doing himself any favors, unfortunately. Like, if you're in the hot seat early on, take maybe a more chill approach per se. Like, don't continue to like, I don't know, be at the center of like mess. And I feel like he just hasn't lowered his target level really at all since the game began.
Yeah, and I feel like one of the things that carried Finn as far as it did in season two was that Finn actually stayed under the radar for a while in season two. And like all of the great drama that Finn brought to season two was purely in confessionals that no one else saw until it aired. Um, Finn is bringing that energy right out in the open this time, which again is really entertaining to
Yeah.
watch, but not great to play against. So I am actually deeply worried about Finn overall. I don't think he may be long for this world. It could change. It is still early game. People could choose a different target to put all of their weight behind. I don't think Finn is a threat at this point, and people might want to start focusing now on the bigger threats in the game. So there's that. He has that to protect him a little bit, but yeah, I don't think it's looking good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see, Sarah Beth or Finn, who's going to win out. We'll find out. But
Mm-mm.
Finn beat out Laura last time, so let's see what happens this time. But um, let's see where do we want to place Finn at?
Low tier is where my mind is at.
I concur.
Okay, all right, on to Gabby. Gabby, doing well. I mean, connected, but it's Gabby. Never know with her.
Oh
I don't
my
know,
gosh.
Bryce. You may know better than anyone. What you thinking?
I know. So obviously, me and Gabby are known for our little tiff in season three. She literally single-handedly sent my ass packing. So I wasn't the biggest Gabby fan in that moment, but looking from the outside in, Gabby is just so fun to watch. I mean, if we were talking about entertainment, Gabby is top tier, top of the line. Like, you cannot get many characters as good as Gabby. She is just so unapologetically who she is, and it works for her. I love it for her. And I think in the game so far, she isn't looking too bad. I mean, she's got Esme spilling secrets to her. She has connections outside of just the season three group, but I am concerned for her because her game in season three is directly causing a lot of people from season three to not really trust her as much. It's been seen with Nora, Weston, and Riot both want Gabby out. Like, she's got a few people looking at her, but I think because of her reputation, those same people probably will not come out against her super publicly. So I think she does have a little bit of cushion within that. But it's been wonderful to watch Gabby, but I am concerned a little bit for her moving forward.
Yeah, I think right now she does seem to be in a fairly good position overall. Um, I am curious to see where it goes though, because she does clearly have some people who aren't clearly on her side. But like you said, I don't know that they're going to come out super quickly about that. Um, I definitely don't think she is like on the chopping block next by any means. I think she's definitely got several more rounds left in her. Um, but by God, is she entertaining? I think I'd put her in high tier personally.
Hmm.
Yeah, I definitely think that she has the potential to take this, but I also think that she will get a target on her back sooner rather than later.
She's just unable to lay low. That's just not the
Yeah,
Gabby way. And unfortunately, when you have a cast this large and a game this long, you have to be able to lay low, and it's just not in her nature. So that's why I'm a little bit concerned for her.
yeah, I
Yeah.
would agree with that.
Yeah, especially with what Nora said in the first episode, I felt like she was very eloquent in when she shared her thoughts, and that was
Yeah.
very surprising to hear that. I think as long as Nora's in the game, that's going to be very, something tricky to really reconcile with, especially, season three's got some vitriol. I mean, we'll see how it's going to play out, but um, I mean, I do think she's, very solid. Like you said, has a lot of rounds left in her, but where are we going to place her?
I vote
I'd
high.
that's where I would put her as well.
Yeah. I think that she could win the War on the Sisters. I think she definitely has a deep run.
Hmm.
So
I
definitely, high tier. I think could be up there. We'll see, but
Nora's just so hard to compete with, but we'll get there.
we will get
Hmm.
there. We will get there. All right, moving on to Ivan. Ivan was my preseason winner pick. I felt
Yeah.
like someone that I think is super interconnected right now, has a lot of alliances. I think has the most like one-on-one setup as well. So like Ivan Sarabeth, Ivan Tegan, Ivan Esme. So a lot of like super connected relationships. I think that's going to pay dividends at some point, but will it take them all the way? I don't know. But I don't know. Bryce, where do you stand on Ivan?
I think Ivan is playing one of the most impressive games currently because he is doing what Sebastian wanted to do, but correctly. Um, like Ivan is very well interconnected, like we've discussed, and he's just so good at playing it right. Like Ivan has a way of talking to you and making you feel like he's giving you all he has, and like this is the information he has to bring to you. And I think that it's working out for him. I don't think anybody's looking at him any type of way. I think he's sitting exactly where he wants to be right now. And I'm glad that he didn't try to like blow up the situation when Sarah went after Sheridan. I think that him being like seemingly cool, I mean, obviously we don't see everything, but like it wasn't brought up. So him being cool about that is definitely um, paid off for him. And I think he's in a really great spot, one of the best spots.
I agree. Like, if I was going to put anyone in the top tier for this ranking, it would be Ivan. Also, this is really unrelated, but like, best outfits on the show.
Yes,
Um,
always.
crushing that. But yeah, like he seems really well liked. I don't think he's made any overtly stupid moves yet. I don't think he's done anything to really get himself targeted anytime soon up until this point in the game. And right, it's early days, so like anything could change. But judging from this point in the game, that's who I would, if you ask me right now who I think is winning this game, I'd have to say Ivan.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
up there for me. Top three at the very least. Like,
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, definitely agree with that. Definitely in a good spot. A lot of alliances. I'm rooting for him. We'll see how it goes. But on to someone a little bit more precarious. On to Jackie. How do you feel about Jackie?
um, honest to God, she's doing better than I expected, given how she kind of went out in season four. Um, I think she's doing pretty good. I'm still worried for her. Obviously, her name has been thrown out multiple times at this point. I do think she would have gone home if Sheridan hadn't said what she said. But then it seemed like, I don't know, like there also seems to be a lot of people who do like her. She seems to have gotten the people of season four on her side. Maddie had like a total switch up, which was kind of incredible to watch. So yeah, like I think she's solidly positioned. I don't think she's in danger of going home next by any means, actually, despite having been put on the chopping block already. I think she's doing a good social game. I think she's generally on the higher end of competitions. So I think for now she'll probably be safe for a while until the numbers start to dwindle.
yeah, I think we've seen a really big upwards trajectory for Jackie. I think that Jackie is kind of playing it the way that I think, given Finn's position, he should be playing.
Hmm.
Jackie was able to just turn it around, like saw the position that she was in and changed. And now she has several people that have went out of their way to protect her in rooms that she's not in. And I think that's always a great indicator of how someone's doing in the game. So I think that I don't see her really being in super big trouble anytime soon, unless it's just a really unfortunate circumstance.
I
Yeah, I
agree.
think if Jackie was going to go home, it was going to be in these first three rounds. She was in a lot of trouble. And I think, if we play a lot of these games, I know Bryson, you played a lot of these games, is that a lot people like to do something different. People like to change it up. And if
Yeah.
someone's a target in a few rounds, they like to do something different, go for the juicy target someone hasn't been talked about. So
Yeah.
I think I might see, Jackie having some trouble like winning the game, but I think
Yeah.
she is definitely in a spot where I think she's going to go far now. I really do. But actually winning the game, I think that might be still tough.
I'm
Yeah,
with you
I do
there.
agree.
Yeah. So with that being said, do we think right now she's on the upward trajectory? Are we putting her in like a mid tier, or do we think she's made it higher than that, or low tier maybe?
I am struggling between mid and high tier for Jackie. I definitely don't think she's top tier, and she's also definitely not low tier. I think I'd have to go mid tier to play it safe, but I would definitely be open to putting her in high tier.
I am leaning towards high tier, honestly.
Okay.
I think it's very difficult to take, especially with such a big cast. I know I keep bringing it up, but it's important,
Hmm.
especially with such a big cast where people are constantly going to look to deflect onto someone who's already been like a person of interest. I think her turnaround is not a super, super easy thing to achieve. So I think if she has the tools to turn that around in literally like one game day's time, I think that we could see a lot more impressive social play from her moving forward. So that's kind of why I lean towards the high tier.
Yeah.
I'm
I think
comfortable with that. I think that's good reasoning.
okay. Jackie in high tier. Didn't think I'd be seeing that, honestly. But I think she's on the rise, though. I think she is. I think she is. All right, on to Jess. Jess, someone a little under-edited. We haven't seen a lot of Jess, but I think Jess could be someone that, you know, comes, a little bit of a surprise later on. I think I said in the draft that I think Jess needs to do something big to win the game, especially coming back in a returning season with not much, resume prior. You need to really make a name for yourself. So I think that's where I'm really worried about Jess for right now in terms of winning the game. But I think in a decent spot.
Yeah, I think so far from what I've seen of Jess, I think she's solidly safe. But I also, yeah, I'm not sure foresee her winning necessarily. Um, I think she could have the potential if she makes it a little bit further by staying under the radar as she has been, and then coming out with some bigger moves a little bit later on in the game. Um, yeah, as of right now though, like she has been playing as super safe, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in like a positive way. I think she's been smart in her safety.
I am, I think Jess is doing fine. I think that's the word I would say. I obviously from season three was Jess's biggest fan. But coming into this season, I just don't. I think she's on the line where she's laying low, but maybe a little too low. Like people are going to lack a conviction to protect her because it's doesn't, I mean, just we haven't seen a lot of her, so I can't say too much. But based off of what we have seen, I just can't see too many people maybe throwing their life on the line to protect her.
Hmm.
She hasn't been super talked about either. And again, like you want to be talked about to a degree because then it becomes a problem that you're not being talked about. And that is the position that I am worried that she may be in. And I feel like if she needed to make something shake in the future, she hasn't particularly built the report that she needs to make something happen for herself if need be.
Yeah, I think if she ended up being nominated for like if she was up for elimination in a small pool of people, I think she'd really be in danger.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if she was up in a big pool, she'd probably be just fine.
Yeah.
Which yeah, that's not a great place to be in. Not the worst.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I don't think that she can play it as low as she's been playing it any longer than maybe one or two more rounds.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe just one more round actually, and then she's going to have to start really doing at least some more social game. She might not
Yeah.
have to pull out a lot of competitions, but she's got to play a better social game soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are we feeling like a mid tier for Jess? Kind of just like, she's fine.
I think that's where I'm at. Yeah.
I feel like she's the most neutral player in the game.
Right. Right. Has opportunity to go up or down.
Hmm.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
absolutely. All right. How do we feel about Maddie?
I personally think Maddie's doing great. I might be a little biased. I think Maddie is, like I said earlier, I think she's brilliant. I do think she has to be careful because I think that people are aware of that with her, and the tides could turn on her kind of quickly. And I do think that she would have season four player support, but at this point, that's not enough alone. Um, and so I do think that people could see her as the threat that she is very soon and want to target that. And so I do fear for her in that regard. But otherwise, like I think she's playing wonderfully. I just playing really well is a lot of times exactly what makes you endangered.
Yeah. I think she might be one too honest conversation with Esme away from being in trouble. I hope Esme doesn't become a blind spot for Maddie. I know like they're close, but like I think that if she trusts in Esme a little too heavily, it could present to be an issue for her. But I think that she has been playing really well with what she's been provided so far. And I mean, her name came up a couple times, and then it was radio silence. So she obviously shut that shit down quickly.
Yeah. I definitely want to give her her flowers, like that move in the first episode, getting Finn nominated, very well done, has had some great confessionals, has in a lot of alliances in a really great spot. So, honestly, I think she's a top contender for me. I
Yeah.
think there is a
I
little
agree.
concern with Weston saying like, oh, she has the most Instagram followers. We'll get to Weston soon. But I just think like if I'm gonna bet, like I think Maddie's gonna come out of that. I don't think Maddie's any
Yeah,
issue. Has a
for
lot of
sure.
connections.
Hmm.
I just think for Maddie, like I want to see her kind of build a little bit more. We haven't seen that from her. I think that she has an opportunity with like having that many connections to really establish like a majority or like a really solid alliance. I mean, she's with the girls, but I think that still doesn't like consider her like outside connections. Like I know she's connected with like Sarah, Nora, Noah, all that. So I know she has another side of the game. So I don't know. What do we think? I mean, I could go top tier
Yeah,
for her. I think.
I could go top.
I think that's very fair. I think she is one of the top contenders, given what we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, how do we feel about Noah?
Good.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't really have strong opinions on Noah's game thus far. Besides, I mean, he didn't seem to care too much about preserving season one, and I'm hoping that that doesn't bite them in the ass. But I mean, there's no way to tell. I don't feel like I've seen a lot of great or a lot of bad. So I feel very like center line regarding Noah.
I am a fan of Noah. I find them really lovable, but I just don't think that that's necessarily enough in this game whatsoever. And I think a lot of the reason that Noah did as well as he did in season one is because of Claire and Andres. And so I don't know that without that extremely strong alliance with one of the most powerful players that we've seen in fight or flight history, like I think without the Claire of it, I don't know how much how far Noah can really go. That being said, I want Noah to stay for a while because I actually really love watching Noah. I think he is extremely sweet. I think they bring a lot to the table in terms of just like kindness. But that doesn't mean anything in fight or flight at all. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I want to see bigger moves, and I'm curious to see where the rest of their gameplay goes.
yeah. I think like I said earlier, I think Noah made the wrong call. I think letting Sebastian go was a little rough. I think he put a lot of stock into Tegan now. That I think Tegan's going to be a really crucial ally for him because Tegan does have a lot of sway, and I think he's definitely going to need and rely on Tegan a lot. And if season one is targeted, I think he's going to go before Tegan. So I'm a little
Oh,
worried.
definitely.
And he has allies like Maddie, I'm sure, like Sarah, he knows, Nora, I'm sure he knows as well. But I just don't know how that is all going to shake out. So I think I'm leaning more of like a mid tier for him.
That's
Yeah,
where I'm at.
that's exactly where I would put Noah.
Okay. How do we feel about Nora?
I love Nora. But I think Nora definitely has some challenges moving forward in the game. I don't think that the game will maybe be as smooth sailing as it was for her in season three. Um, but I think that out of the two sisters, Nora has the most potential to make it farther in the game just because, like I said, Nora's super level-headed, super like just approachable, likable, and I think that if Sarah were to go home, that Nora has a really good chance of taking a deep run into the game. I think that she's been playing her situation pretty smart, and I actually think during the deliberation where her and her sister were called out, I think it was smart of her to speak up and say something because it's easy to just kind of like, haha, like I see what you mean, but I think it would be not smart to completely just ignore that it was said. So I think Nora's doing like pretty good, but I don't think that she's currently like a top contender either.
I don't really feel like I have much to add to that. I feel like Bryce really covered all the bases there. Yeah, I completely concur with everything you said. I just will take a moment to emphasize that I think that Nora will have a better shot once Sarah is eliminated. Because I think the biggest like knock against Nora right now is that people will be threatened by the fact that her sister is also in the game with her. So yeah, I think that that might be the best thing that can happen for Nora. Sorry, Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a tough call there for sure with one of the sisters. I mean, at least for me, having Sarah in my draft. I mean, I played with them both. They're both so lovely. Um, I'm very struggling to see like how the Nora Gabby thing is going to shake out. I just think it's the wrong call to like definitely target Gabby, but I think eventually you do have to get her out. But I just wonder
Hmm.
if how that's going to work.
I will argue against that momentarily because I think
Hmm.
Nora's a very smart person. And once Sarah is out, she could probably really actually leverage the fact that she's targeting Gabby because eventually, once a couple more people go home, the season differentiation, the numbers will matter a lot more getting deeper into the game because you have increasingly more season fours and season three
Hmm.
representatives. There's going to be a war at some point, likely. And if season four thinks Nora is down to ride with them, that could actually carry her pretty far if she leverages it correctly. And I feel like I could see her doing it.
Also, at some point, people are going to become aware of how much of a social threat Gabby really is.
Yeah.
And that will eventually put the target on Gabby's back, whether Nora is the person who starts it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. I think you got me swaying a little bit. Okay, I see you. I think maybe a high tier then. What do you think?
Yeah, I I could see a high tier for Nora for sure.
I just know Nora has the pieces to
Hmm.
do it. I don't know, like she definitely has odds stacked against her, but I think if I was gonna bet on her going far, I would.
Yeah,
On to Riot. How do we feel about Riot?
I feel like we haven't seen enough Riot. Is that like I
Agreed.
don't know? Like I just feel like there's not been quite enough Riot yet for my taste.
I adore Riot. I worry about Riot's agency in the game. I
Mm.
know that she was pushing for Gabby a little bit, not super, like she's just kind of putting feelers out or whatever. But it didn't latch really at all. And I think I am concerned that Riot might let the game go past them until it's a little too far for her to really get back into the mix of things. So I am concerned for Riot on a game level, but it has been so nice watching Riot because she's just so fun. I mean, another great character, and like it's hard to not like Riot.
Yeah, and I find it really hard to not root for her. But yeah, like you said, the agency I think was a really good point. Yeah, I don't want to see Riot get kind of washed away in this season. But I fear that that may happen, at least from what we've seen so far. And I would like to see maybe a little bit more bravery and backbone from Riot. Um, and maybe a little bit more shine too. Just like because like she clearly has that about her, and so I want to see that come through a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Riot is well connected. Riot's in a couple different
Mm-hmm.
groups, so I don't think Riot is in danger of really going
Mm-mm.
anywhere anytime soon. But I do fear that once it gets to a certain point in the game, like her ability to win will decrease and decrease and decrease just because she's not taking action.
Yes, that's exactly how I feel. Like I definitely think Riot is safe. I just want to see the ability to take it home from
Yeah,
Riot.
Yep. Totally agree. Got to flex your agency if you want to win the game. Got to make a couple moves. Um, Obviously a long game to go, but I just
right.
think, with what we've seen so far, it's hard to call. So, um, maybe like a mid tier. What do we think?
That's where I would put Riot at the
Mm-hmm.
moment.
Mm-hmm.
On to Sarah, which I think definitely a little precarious here.
Yeah,
We definitely talked about Sarah made a couple mistakes. I think you have swayed me. I think Nora's in the better position. And I think Sarah could be in some trouble. Unfortunate to say it, but um, how do we feel? Like, do we think there is some shot? I think there is, but what do you think?
I could see this going either way. I could see Sarah being able to pull out some incredible moves and be the one to win it all. I could also see her going home the next episode, depending how she plays her cards moving forward. Because she has made some good connections. She's also made some less than stellar moves so far. And, she didn't end up being targeted in this third episode the way that I thought that
yeah,
the move might make her be. So I don't know. Like she is actually, despite the fact that I don't agree with a lot of her decisions, she has come out pretty okay so far on this.
yeah.
And I find her to be, for me, the least. She's the one I'm least able to say where I think her future is going in this game.
I'm I'm a little less hopeful for Sarah, unfortunately. I do really like Sarah and she's been so fun to watch. But my concern really is just the fact that like her move against her alliance in week two. I mean, even if, like I said, there are no negative repercussions to it, like it's still there. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna forget it, even if I'm gonna ignore it for right now because I feel uneasy about where the numbers are. I'm gonna remember that, and I'm gonna wonder if that could be me that you do it to next, because who's to say it couldn't be? So I do think that that could stain her image a little bit. So I am a little nervous for her, and I don't know how it's going to go. I genuinely, like Erica said, I genuinely just don't see how it's going to go yet.
And you know what though? Like that point that you just made, that's the exact kind of stuff where like someone gets to the final two, and when it comes down to the jury vote, someone says, "Yeah, but Sarah did this in episode two," and they'll vote for whoever is the other person is because of that. So like you're totally right. Like that does like I could see Sarah still getting far, but I think you're right. Like that might be something that actually could cost her that final win right at the very end, even.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very high variance. It's a really good point. When it comes down to that final decision, you kind of have to weigh like, did you make some mistakes? How many great things did you do? And if you have a couple mistakes, sometimes your vote will go to the other player. So I think, I don't know. I think I'm leaning with Bryce. She might be in the low tier for me.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, hold on. Hold on.
Hey, I don't know. I don't know. It might be a little harsh for me, but
I
what you guys
mean,
think?
I think it's hard because we haven't seen any repercussions to Sarah's
True,
actions
true,
yet.
true.
Like there have been two opportunities, or I guess one opportunity for Sarah to really see repercussions, and they never
Mhm.
came. So like it really is hard to tell. I mean, low is arguable. I don't know if I'm being too nice, but like I was thinking like more so mid tier, maybe teetering between the two, but I don't know.
I do agree with that because, like I said, like I can see her going home next, but I can also see her not. So, like, that does make it hard for me to make a call if I feel like this is more lower mid tier.
Yeah. Hey, I also, Finn's alone down there. Let's give him a friend, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
Fair enough.
fair enough.
know. Hey, on to Sarah Beth. How do we feel about Sarah Beth?
Kind of similarly to how I feel about Riot, honestly. A Sarah Beth, another one of those people that's super likable, and easy to get along with, but mainly because she just doesn't say a whole lot. But I just worry that she's gonna like let the game go by her again, just because she is very like considerate and she just lets things happen. And that's where my concerns with Sarah Beth come in. She's very intelligent, very smart. Um, and I was glad to see her in the initial deliberation stick up for herself and push it towards Finn. Um, because that was already like, a bit of growth from Sarah Beth, I think, from season three. But I am worried that she's not really making too many like judgment calls.
Yeah, I genuinely feel like I haven't seen enough yet from Sarah Beth this season to be like, yeah, to really have a strong opinion on her gameplay in either direction, really. Um, I feel like kind of like we said, like, fine. I feel like
Yeah,
she's playing fine. Um, yeah, I feel very mid for me. I don't think she is in danger of going home.
right.
Really, I don't, but I also don't know if I can necessarily see her taking this all the way either. Now she could jump up and surprise me and show more, and maybe she's just playing it smart and playing it under the radar for now, and then going to come out with some big bold moves. But there's nothing that I've seen from her just yet that would give me an inclination to believe that she will make those big bold moves.
I think the biggest up for her is that her only opposition right now is Finn, and Finn has like no agency. So like
And I also don't think Finn actually cares that much about targeting Sarah Beth. Like truly, I don't. Like I don't see that. I think Finn threw out a name that first day, and then it's just kind of been like glued to like, oh well, Finn was the one who said Sarah Beth, and it's like, yeah, but Finn hasn't been like consistently calling out Sarah Beth. It was kind of like
in the DR though,
true,
Yeah.
yeah.
I will say
So
for Sarah Beth too that I mean she has a connection to who we view as one of the top positions in the game in Ivan. I think, obviously Ivan and Sean are
mhm.
dating. I think
right?
those two are going to be really tight. I don't think Ivan's going to turn on Sarah Beth anytime
No.
soon or anything like that. So, like you said, I don't know if she's going to win. I don't know if she can go that far. I don't, she'll still have to flex her agency, make a couple moves near the end. But I think she's safe for now. I mean, what do we think? Mid tier?
I
I
feel
would say mid
solidly mid.
tier.
Okay. What about Shrishti?
Okay, I actually have this. Shrishti is my sleeper pick. Actually, I think Shrishti is the most analytical, but in a positive way, person in the cast. Like we see Weston being very analytical of things that maybe don't really matter that much. But then we see we see Srishti, and Srishti is really taking in all this information, really assessing her relationship with people like Finn, and realizing, okay, this can be an asset for me. And I see someone isolated, like, why would this not be good for me? I think she is taking the correct steps. She's laying low. Her name's not came up at like once. I don't know. I have really high hopes for Srishti.
I fully agree. Having played against Trishti, I think a lot of times people can underestimate her, which made sense season two. It's amazing to me that people would sleep on her this time round, having seen season two and knowing what she's capable of. And I think she's doing even better socially than she did in season two. So like I have a lot of hopes for Shrishti. She's a high tier for me. I think she's nowhere near in danger of going home anytime soon. And I know that Shrishti does have both the intelligence and the chutzpah to like really stand up for herself and to make bold moves as the clock starts ticking and people start dwindling in this game. I really, yeah, I believe that she has what it takes to win this if she needs
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think she has a great narrative, especially with season two going out at the start. Like if she does make the finals, that's a very good story of like, hey, I survived that. I came back. I did such and such, and now I'm here. I do think I need to see like a little bit more like relationship wise and alliance wise from her. It's hard to know exactly where she stands, but I think that's also a good thing too. Whereas we're not seeing that much, I think she has a lot of room to pop and to grow later, which is often
Yeah,
characteristic of a winner.
I think sometimes when people get too locked into an alliance at the beginning, that can sometimes be their downfall in the end. I think the fact that she is playing the field a little bit more could really benefit her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I really feel strongly about her. I would even argue top tier personally, and I think
Mm,
even with being one of the last two people left from your season, or I think that like really like almost puts you in a better position because then instead of being seen as a unit, you're seen as a number. And that narrative shift alone, just with her general like likability, I think that she is set up super well.
yeah,
Yeah,
agreed.
I can see a top tier. I really think definitely a sleeper, 100%.
Awesome.
Yeah. On to Tegan. I think maybe another top tier. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Tegan's very connected. I just think that Tegan's gonna have a very tough time getting to the end. But if Tegan gets there, I think it's case closed. But can
I
Tegan get there? That's
feel
my thing.
I feel a little bit similarly about Tegan as I do about Gabby, whereas like I think they're going to do great in these early parts, and there's going to come a point where their social game becomes such a threat to the other players that people will eventually turn on them and start targeting them. Yeah, I feel that way about both of them. And so I am a little bit worried for Tegan. Love her though, just truly one of the best fight or flight icons. I'm so glad that she's back. But yeah, I do have some fear that exactly what makes her a strong player now might end up being her downfall a little bit later in the game. That being said, I do think she has what it takes to take it all the way to the end if she can play it right.
I Well, first and foremost, I've really enjoyed watching Tegan. Like, I think that she's a great character, and watching her has been so much fun. But I wouldn't compare her as much to Gabby and like how I'm watching it as much as I would maybe like Sarah Beth. Because I know Tegan's capabilities. I'm not a stranger to that, but I am worried that like we're seeing some stronger and more aggressive players kind of take the reins in the game. And I don't think that she's in danger anytime soon, but I think that she might be comfortable where she is for a little too long. And I mean, I don't blame her. I probably, if I was that good of a social player, I probably would fall into that pocket too. But I am a little bit concerned in that regard that like maybe too much of the game will happen without her having a direct impact. So that might make it a little bit harder for her to clinch it in the end.
Yeah. Okay. So what do we think?
I think
I
high
Tegan
vote
tier is
and
very
high. Yeah.
reasonable.
high tier?
Yeah, I vote
Okay.
high.
Okay. On to Tori. Tori had a insane goodbye message for Sebastian.
Oh
Very
yeah, he did.
fiery. Very fiery episode 3. Where does he go from here?
I don't know.
I
I
think, oh, go ahead.
no, you first.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Tori, I think that I'm sure like the people that were aligned with Tori before that whole situation probably feel the same about him afterwards. I don't think that's going to throw anybody who was already working with him away from working with him, but I do think it may have potentially closed some doors for him. There are definitely some people who were like, "Whoa, like what's going on?"
Hmm.
And I just think like because when I watched the first two episodes, I'm like, Tori is like cool as fuck. I would work with Tori 9 out of 10 times based off of the person I saw in episode 1 and episode 2. Episode 3, I don't know, it'd make me a little more apprehensive to maybe like really reach out and like have like a close connection. But like if you're already established with him, I don't see why anything would change.
I definitely agree with that. Like, well, and we saw very directly Gabby straight up said like that kind of changed. Like she didn't want to work with him now, like moving forward because of that. So I think that's an interesting thing. That being said, Tori is a really strong player. There's a reason he got to second in season 4. he is generally a very likable person. But yeah, I mean, that did definitely turn some people off of wanting to work with him, clearly. But like, yeah, like you said, those people who were already working with him, it definitely didn't change their opinions of him whatsoever. Um, so I don't know. I can see Tori. I don't think Tori's in danger of going home or really even being put up for a nomination again, like super soon.
Hmm.
Um, but I do worry about his ability now to maybe take it all the way home after this. I still think he has the potential to be
Yeah,
clear. I don't think it's like
absolutely.
off the table for him. But I am more worried about him now after that than I was prior to that.
Right.
Yeah, I genuinely don't know, which I guess makes it kind of mid tier for me. Because I'm just really unsure about how this moves forward.
I think I'm just more curious to find out how in trouble Tori thought he was going into that deliberation.
Hmm.
Because here's my thing. If I'm going into a deliberation and I know this other person's about to go home, I'm not even gonna give you that attention. Like, I don't need to. Like, I understand, like, you want to defend yourself in a capacity, but like, if I know I'm gonna stay, I don't think I'm going to fuel that fire anymore because first of all, if it is going to be that close, I'm in a precarious position. I don't want to rock the boat one way or another. So that was the concern for me, is I think that I don't think Tori really needed to defend himself because from my perspective, he was probably staying regardless.
Yeah, I do agree with that very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tori's my guy. I voted for him to win season 4. I think he had the capacity to win. It's really tough. I think it's similar here. I just don't know if he realized like some of the things he may say like may come off in certain ways, and that he's gonna have a tough time with a jury vote. So I think he could have a tough time winning the season. But I don't think he's in any real danger soon. I mean, like I said before, I think people like to do something different, like to change it up, go for the juicier target. So I'm happy with a mid tier for him. What do you guys
Yeah, I
think?
agree. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly where I'd put him.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's just based off of how the most recent episode just ended. I mean, it's fresh in our minds. It's easy to kind of let
Hmm.
us push him to mid, but like I do think there's a lot of potential with Tori still.
I agree.
Absolutely. All right. Last but not
I
least,
absolutely agree.
we got Weston, Mr. Instagram board himself.
God, I
I
love
don't
him.
know. How we feeling
Oh,
about Weston?
Weston is so likable, but he is going to paranoia himself out of the game again. I just the fixation on the Instagram following is like wild because I'm like sometimes like with Maddie, like she could just be like a diehard fight or flight fan. She follows everyone who's on the show. Like, I mean, it's just one of those situations. Sometimes you like are active in a community and you'll see someone play something you did and you follow them. Like it is what it is. So I think that he's reading really heavily into some things that maybe aren't particularly relevant, which takes him down a few notches for me because it's like, okay, you can live in the game on the Instagram side of things, or you can be perceptive about what's happening now. Like, and I feel like he's got his sights set so much on things outside that he's not really seeing the game that's in front of him. And that's what concerns me for Weston. But I do adore Weston.
I do agree with all of that. I do love the Charlie Day esque connections board, though. That was iconic. One of my favorite moments so far. But like, yeah, I don't think it's relevant at all, actually. And when he called out Maddie, I was like, I follow Maddie. So I was like, what are you trying to say? But yeah, I do worry that he is distracting himself with things that just aren't super pertinent to the game at hand. And I worry that he's like, honestly, that would be fine. Like, you could be focused on that if you were still doing what needed to be done within the game. And I do worry that he's taking a little bit of a backseat, both socially and competition wise. So like I would like to just see a little bit more push and fight from him, to be honest. And I believe that he has that in him if he can just focus up
I
and
Yeah.
set it straight.
man. And
And we
even from like
haven't.
a yeah,
Oh, go
even from
ahead.
like an editing, like reading the edit perspective, like his primary focus has been that Instagram board and Riot, and I just haven't like seen him that much elsewhere. So I'm like very
Hmm.
curious, like what because a lot of these like top contenders have like true storylines that are set up and that we know that are going to pay off eventually. I'm worried for him, and I just don't know like if he's going to be able to take it all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worry about that. And
Yeah,
like, I really do love Weston, my fellow Capricorn.
yeah,
Like,
love Weston, like
I
super nice
want,
guy, super
I
nice guy.
really want him to do well. I just fear that right now, as he's playing, it's not enough to take it all the way.
Yeah.
Where do you guys think we should put him?
I don't
I
know.
don't. I was gonna say I don't think he's like super in danger of going home soon. So like for me, I would probably go mid tier. I don't think he's like next on the
Yeah,
chopping
that's
personally.
Yeah,
where I'm at.
yeah. And there we have it. That is the full 17 players left, power ranked. This is what we think. This is what the panel thinks. I think there's truly a lot of variance and go either way. A lot of contenders as well. A lot of room to change. But yeah, we did it. Episode
Woo!
123. Everybody ranked. You know, went a little longer than expected, but hey, we out here having a
That was
good
a lot
time.
of fun
So
though.
We
hey,
turned it
yeah,
into a deep dive.
We
yes,
really did.
yes. Yeah. Hey, well, truly, I am a fan of both of you guys. Having played with you both, in multiple games, I have truly a lot of respect for both of you. Super fun to hear both of your thoughts. Thank you so much for joining me, truly.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a blast. I love fight or flight. I will always be here for fight or flight shenanigans.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's been a long time since I've been active within the fight or flight community, so it's nice to take a step back in and it's been a really fun season. It's a great place to pick up.
Yeah. Hey, well, anything you guys want to plug? Anything you guys want to shout out at the end of this?
I mean, feel free to follow me on Instagram at Make Erica Right Again.
Shout out. Bryce, anything?
I have nothing to plug, but I will say, Anthony, do not make me an alternate again. That's rude as hell.
Bryce, I want to see you back one day. I want to see you back play again.
Well, you might be the only one, but
Oh.
I would absolutely say yes.
Well, now I want to season with both of us so that we can play against each other.
Oh
Oh,
my
I would
gosh,
love to see
why
that.
against? Why can't it be with each
We
other?
could be an alliance,
Well,
exactly.
I know, but we can't talk about it anymore.
They'll
Text
come back to
me.
this podcast. It'll be canon. Hey, well, absolute pleasure again, both you guys. Thank you so much for Fight or Flight. Season continues Mondays, 8 p.m. Reminder: like, subscribe, show some support, join the Discord, show your thoughts, check out the Patreon, all the above. Check out the Instagram. You know what it is. Once again, thank you guys for listening, tuning in. If you made it this far, I've been Nathan from season 3 and season.